against Anthony Ivey. It's Grixis Delver. It's Sneak and Show. In your middle, again, Ross Merriam on humans against Arthur Moreno playing Mardu Pyromancer. Tough matchup there for Ross. Then Brendan DeCandio on black-blue mid-range against Emmett Clarkson on black-white zombie.
Get out.
You don't like the cranberries, too?
No, I love the cranberries. That's just my gag. You're stealing my gag.
Maybe that should be my karaoke song, because I think anyone could sing that song.
That's true. It's like Don't Stop Believin'. Even if you do it poorly, everyone's still going to sing along and love it.
It's true. That's a great song.
You know, my wife Callie pointed out the other day that Mr. Brightside by the Killers is our generation's Don't Stop Believin' for karaoke.
Just because anyone can sing it and it's still totally fine?
And everyone will sing along.
Yeah, that's actually really good. I haven't heard Mr. Brightside in a long time.
Oh, you haven't been to karaoke very often because someone sings it every time.
I wonder what the Killers are up to.
I think they either just came out with a new album or are coming out with one very soon.
They were really big in like 04?
Yeah.
What do we got here? We got a preordained, we got a Lotus Petal. Pass the turn. Tan and Gray started things off with an Underground Scene of Delver Secrets. Looking to transform, not going to happen.
Now, transforming here is huge for the Grixis Delver deck because you start chunking in for 3, increasing your clock significantly so that your opponent's basically forced to start running into all of your soft counter spells.
Tan and Gray's going to now cast a Thoughtseize. Wants to get an idea of exactly what Anthony Ivey is working with. Looks like it's going to resolve. Here comes the hand, a Brainstorm, a Force of Will.
2 Emrakuls.
Yeah, 2 Emrakuls and a Sneak Attack.
Not the greatest hand here for Anthony. He obviously has the Sneak Attack and double Emrakul as well as a Brainstorm, but this Thoughtseize is going to slow him down significantly. He needs both mana to get through this stuff, but he also needs to find some sort of protection alongside that Force of Will. And if I had to bet, Tana's just going to strip him of the Brainstorm to kind of mess up his draw over the next few turns and to turn off the Force of Will.
The good thing here for Anthony is that he's not underneath that much pressure yet. Had Delver transformed, I'd be really worried for him.
Yeah, I mean, with the Spell Pierce and Force of Will at the ready from Tannen's side, if I were him, I think I'm just leaning hard on this Brainstorm.
There goes Sneak Attack.
He thinks differently, and he has like a 90% win percentage in Legacy over the last year, so you know what? You do you, baby. You do.
Tana's done a lot of great work in Legacy with this team, as there is a Volcanic Island as the draw step. Again, now Tanner working with perfect information, ignoring the top card of Anthony Ivey's deck. That's the only thing he doesn't know. He knows every card in hand, and the battlefield's very clear. As Delver's going to transform, and now it's a Daze. It'll be the draw step, most likely, and he will take it and not fetch it away.
Yeah, he had the option to shuffle it away, but not only does he want that piece of disruption, he actually needed another blue card, I believe, for Force of Will. So I expect him fully here. Since he knows that the coast is mostly clear, he could just play the Young Pyromancer and sit on that Force of Will and maybe counter the Brainstorm, but that leaves him vulnerable to Show and Tell next turn off the top. I think he wants to get some more pressure on the battlefield, though, and it looks like he's agreeing with me.
I'm going to sacrifice Misty Rainforest here, Will Grace.
Access to Force of Will and Daze here. A very strong start from Tannen. That Thoughtseize, a newer addition to these Grixis Delver decks. Normally they don't play discard spells in the main deck. The black was traditionally just for removal and Deathrite Shaman, and the deck was mostly a blue-red Delver deck that basically splashed for Deathrite Shaman. But now that Deathrite Shaman's gone, Tannen's finding a bit of more of a reason to actually play the black mana.
Oh, here is Brainstorm. Brainstorm will resolve. 3 cards coming, 2 cards going back. Emmett Clarkson very quickly here, up a game over Brendan DeCandio. Zombie.
Hey.
I used to play a lot of mono green aggro on Magic Online after it was revealed by Andrew Jessup the deck was very good. Let me tell you, you play against zombies, you lose.
Good day, sir.
You cannot beat Death Baron.
Yeah.
The game is over immediately. As here's a Ponder.
I'm going to shuffle that away. One of the neatest things about the Sneak and Show deck is when you draw a lot of either Lotus Petals or the 2-mana lands, and that allows you to pretty easily play around stuff like Spell Pierce and Daze. But unluckily for Anthony, he doesn't have the luxury to keep that City of Traders that was in the Ponder. Has a shuffle to look for something like a sneak attack or show and tell. And that's going to just allow Tannen's dazes and spell pierces and such to have a significant impact on this game.
Well, we'll see what comes next here for Anthony Ivey, as he'll be drawing a mystery card in just a moment. That's an island. This is a preordained. So a lot of cantripping going on here. This is a deck that's full of them, with the goal of resolving a sneak attack or a show and tell. And then things normally are pretty easy after that.
Yeah, put them both on the bottom here. My suspicion is that he has not found another combo piece and desperately digging for either a show and tell or a sneak attack, but still needing to find a way to play around Spell Pierce, Daze, and Force of Will.
There's an attack for 5. And Tannen will pass the turn back. Draw a card here, will Anthony Ivey. It'll be a brainstorm. So now 3 cards coming, 2 will go back. So we've seen plenty of manipulation here from Anthony Ivey. He's doing a nice job of spinning his wheels, but eventually we need to have the rubber hit the road. We got to see something actually happen, which Ross Merriam has done a nice job of. He won his match there over he won his first game over Anthony Moreno. Humans up a game over Marty Pyromancer, which in game number 1, that's not an easy thing to do.
No, it is not. And we're actually starting to reach a pinnacle point in this game between Grace and Ivey, where if Ivey doesn't resolve an Emrakul this turn, there's a very good chance that a show and tell Emrakul or even a sneak attack Emrakul is not going to be enough.
Yep. It's also worth noting, too, Grace hit 16, not 15.
Yeah, that could change if he tries to win a battle with Force of Will, though. So the life total there does matter for Tannen.
5 more there for Grace.
He does have a ton of cards in hand, and we know at least 3 of them are Spell Pierce, Force of Will, and Daze.
Well, if he's just going to pass the turn back and say, hey, I'm going to present lethal next turn, hey, Anthony, you got to do something. He's going to start off by casting a preordain. If he does not play a sneak attack or a show and tell, this game is over. Both cards going to the bottom. New card coming from preordain. What's it going to be? It's going to be a concession. All that cantripping yielded nothing.
I know those feels.
Yeah, you've been there?
And that's exactly why Tannen decided to take the sneak attack instead of the brainstorm. You want to take away their guaranteed potential combo. I was on the fence that you want to take away stuff like brainstorm because it would affect their development. However, it's always fine to take half of their combo when they're trying to assemble things.
Tannen Grace wins game number 1 here over Anthony Ivey. Grixis Delver up a game over Sneak and Show. We're going to turn to the Sneak and Show sideboard. Todd, you obviously know a lot about this deck. So much success with it. 3 Arcane Artesian. That's a new one, obviously. So I know you haven't probably used that one just yet.
Not yet. I've seen it in practice. It's not really for this matchup. It's mostly against decks that are going to have a lot of hate cards for your combo that don't necessarily counter it, but are like permanents that affect it. It gets around Containment Priest, for example. It doesn't let your opponent put something into play that blows up your thing, like an Angel of Despair, the Ashen Rider, those types of things. Like, it used to be Angel of Despair, and then Ashen Rider took that role because it's just a little bit better. Anywho, so I don't think Artisan is very good in this matchup. It's a little slow, and Dice the Lightning Bolt. Pyroclasm's okay. It can buy you a lot of time against things like Delver and Young Pyromancer. Obviously, it doesn't affect Gurmag Angler or True Name Nemesis, but I actually expect Tannen to board out True Name Nemesis in this matchup. Through the Breach is a little expensive. I don't think I want that. Blood Moon is okay because it's effectively a must counter in some spots, but if you play Blood Moon too late in the game, there's a chance your opponent just doesn't care about it because they already have 1 or 2 creatures on the battlefield, and they're content just saving their Force of Wills to try to hit your more important spells. Plus, Tannen came with an island this weekend in his Delver deck, so he actually has a way to fetch and play around that Blood Moon. Braid I don't love. Graph Digger Cage does nothing. Fair Macabre is irrelevant.
Well, we go to Tannen Grace, who's got 2 Diabolic Edict, 2 Abrade, 2 Pyroblast, 2 Surgical Extraction, 7 one-ofs here in Price of Progress, Null Rod, Marsh Casualties, Pithing Needle, Grim Lavamancer, Flusterstorm, Liliana, The Last Hope, what cards would you be scared of if you were playing Sneak and Show?
If I'm playing Sneak and Show, anything that can interact with a Show and Tell I think is bad. Pyroblast is the card that's definitely going to be coming in 100% because Show and Tell is your easiest way to assemble your combo. Things like Sneak Attack through the Breach, they get a little more expensive than you can afford against things like Daze and Spell Pierce and even Flusterstorm. So I'm really scared of Pyroblast for sure. Diabolic Edict's a way for them to handle one of your big creatures, even if you are able to snag a Gristlebrand with it. Sometimes you can draw 7 cards. However, if they have put enough pressure on you and you aren't able to block or attack with the Gristlebrand, the Edict can be enough by itself to seal the deal no matter what creature it is. Aside from that, I think Pith and Needle is good because it shuts off half of the ways that you can combo. And then a Flusterstorm obviously is very good against Show and Tell. And it's very good at stopping Brainstorm, which is one of the key pieces for the Sneak and Show deck to set their combo up.
Well, those are the options there for both players. We'll be underway here in game number 2 in just a moment. But first, we're going to talk about the StarCityGames.com newsletter. It is your source for Magic the Gathering news. We've got a lot of fun stuff in there, up to and including highlights from some of our best articles every single week. If you read our newsletter this week, you got a little snippet there from Brian Gottlieb, John Finkel, and Kai Budd. We've got upcoming SCG Tour dates and locations, Possibility Storm Puzzle Solutions, that fun feature that we have every Monday on the select side of Star City Games. You'll find the solution to that puzzle in our newsletter. StarCityGames.com invitational qualifiers near you. StarCityGames.com game nights near you. Best of all, it's free to sign up for at go.starcitygames.com/newsletter. And if things shake out the way that Tannen Grace would like them to, maybe he'll be in that newsletter celebrating his first SCG Tour win. He's gotten so close so many times, but he has not gotten that trophy just yet. But Team BCW well on their way here this weekend. And right now, that team of Grace, Merriam, and DeCandio, they've got the advantage as Grace and Merriam won game number 1, while DeCandio maybe is back against the wall, not prepared for the zombie matchup.
Yeah, why would you be?
Very true.
There's not a whole lot of zombie decks running around Magic Online.
No.
Not a whole lot of zombie decks running around Standard right now, but the team of Clarkson, Moreno, and Ivey with the Zombies pilot in Standard, they're doing pretty well.
It'll be a brainstorm here for Anthony Ivey. And you don't see this oftentimes on the first turn of the game. Is it go time?
AJ Soccer would be having some words right now.
Yeah, he's probably not happy.
However, I have played a ton of Sneak and Show against Delver, and I know that sometimes your hand is not great, and if that Brainstorm ever gets hit with a counterspell, whether it's Daze, Spell Pierce, what have you, it's game over.
Yeah, so you just got to do that on turn 1.
You just main phase it. Just play your spell.
All right.
Don't get fancy.
Couple Lotus Petals there from Anthony Ivey. I'd consider that pretty fancy, along with that Volcanic Island. Means that we could have a turn 2 Show and Tell or Sneak Attack here as we head back over to Tannen Grace for his first turn of the game. He'll just play a Volcanic Island of his own. Pass turn back over to Ivey. Ivey's going to draw a card. He'll play a Volcanic Island. Oh, yeah, let's go.
Notably, playing those Lotus Petals actually plays around Flusterstorm a little bit. Yeah. Obviously, in this situation, it doesn't quite do it, but let's see what you got.
It's a Pyroblast.
Yikes.
All right, well, that'll take care of that. We'll head back over to Tannen Grace. He had the answer.
It looks like he's got mono answers in hand, multiple copies of Force of Will, and probably going to be playing something like Young Pyromancer this turn.
You would have thought that this Grixis Delver deck would have gotten substantially worse with the loss of Deathrite Shamanic Ataxian Probe, and there's no arguing that the deck did get worse, but I think it's important to note it's still quite good.
It's still great. Doesn't matter. Tannen Grace don't care.
That just means that when it had Deathrite Shamanic Ataxian Probe, it was busted.
Yeah.
That's all that means. There's an Abrade. Maybe a card we weren't expecting to see come in here, but it is an answer to Young Pyromancer.
Yeah, and buying time is something the Sneak and Show deck can do. And Tannen here correctly assessing the Young Pyromancer is his only form of pressure right now, and he has another Force of Will and probably another piece of Disruption, and he's more than happy to burn that just to make sure he has pressure on the battlefield to start attacking Anthony so he doesn't have enough time to actually set things up again.
Grace with that Force of Will going to make a Ross Merriam Elemental token. Ross, of course, is sitting to his left right now.
That's got to be nice.
Not too bad, is it?
It's like when Tom Ross plays Infect and gets to put his token on the battlefield.
Yeah, I'm killing you with this. Yeah. That's what's going on here.
I got you.
That's right. Ponder will shuffle.
Definitely not what Tannen was looking for there. Going to shuffle it and reset the things. I know he has Force blue card and another red card, and I don't know what the other red card is, but it might be a Pyroblast.
Oh, if that's the case, he's in a pretty good position right now. So he'll draw a mystery card. New elemental made there from the Ponder resolving, of course. That one's upside down, which means it has summoning sickness. There is a Ponder, so we'll get another one. Tana will look at another 3 cards, brainstorm among them.
Ooh. Diabolic Edict could prevent worst case scenarios here. I like keeping that one on top.
Well, it looks like he will agree with you, Todd, and now here's an attack here for 3. Anthony Ivey going to fall down to 17. Young Pyromancer starting to build a little bit of battlefield here for Tannen Grace as we'll head back over to Anthony Ivey, who will draw a card.
Yeah, and this is exactly why Tannen used a Force Will and a blue card to protect it.
This is a show and tell. Does Grace have another answer? The window was small here for Ivey, but it looks like he peeled the show and tell just in time. I see for Tannen Grace a copy of Force of Will in hand. He'll use that Force of Will, exiling Preordain, and it looks like that's going to resolve. So unfortunately for Ivey, who I can see has a Force Will in hand, the problem is Ty doesn't have a blue card to go along with it.
Yeah, and that happens quite a bit in this Sneak and Show deck, just because you need those blue cards early to play as cantrips to find your combo. Show and Tell itself is blue, so if you're having to cast it, that means you're down a blue card for Force of Will. Using the Force of Will to protect your combo is not easy to do.
Braid's going to try to kill Young Pyromancer here once again. We saw this earlier. Tannen correctly identifying that, hey, you know what, I'm going to Force of Will the first of Braid because I need this Young Pyromancer. Now, he might not even need it. He might say, you know what, it's dead. I got enough creatures on the battlefield here with these elementals. But we'll see, as he's going to brainstorm in response. That'll bring another elemental along with it. 3 cards coming. 2, of course, will be going back here for Tannen Grace.
Yeah, a Braid here on the Young Pyromancer is a losing proposition because Tannen has enough power with the elementals on the battlefield to get the job done in just a few short turns. If that was a Pyroclasm here, that would be significantly better for Ivey. But there's a chance that he was so afraid of a card like Pithing Needle that he decided to bring in a Braid over Pyroclasm, or he might have just brought in both.
Yeah, but there he might be making his deck a little bit too reactive, right?
Right.
Not enough pedal to the metal. I know when you play Sneak and Show, you're one way, man. Let's get you out of here.
To be fair, Anthony played pretty hard. He went turn 2 Show and Tell. He had Force Will, not a blue card to play with it. He could have waited a turn, but that Brainstorm, he knew what card was on top of his deck, and he correctly identified that if this doesn't resolve, there's a good chance I lose anyway because the top card just gives him more time and doesn't actually change what I'm doing. So I like the aggressive play. You put your opponent to the test. Tannen just happened to have Power Blast and Force Will, 2 cards that are very good in this matchup.
Brainstorm on the end step there from Tannen Grace. He'll attack there for 5. Going to put Anthony down to 1. That means those fetch lands are no longer good. That also means Force of Will to defend himself is no good. He'll draw a card. Might be his last draw step of the match, and it looks like it will be. Tannen Grace going to win this match over Anthony Ivey 2-0. Grixis Delver going to take care of Sneak and Show. And for Tannen Grace, he didn't have to beat a resolved Emrakul because one never got on the battlefield. And just like that, by the by, looks like Ross Merriam beat Mardu Pyromancer 2-0. Which is pretty unusual for humans, but hey, humans is a pretty darn good deck.